Hello everyone, I'm the Peculiar Pisces and welcome to my channel. Today is Wednesday, March 4th, 2026, and this is Flosstube video number 77. This is my regular weekly update, but this is the beginning of March, so all of my projects got shuffled around and I started 4 new ones. Besides that, I found some time and I got to work on a couple of my temperature projects. So today is going to be like a super busy day, and I'm hoping that I get to film this before I have to go leave for a appointment at, well, my appointment's at 10, but I need to leave here by 9:45. So it is currently 8:58 in the morning. So I'm hoping that I get this filmed before I have to leave for my appointment and then come back, edit a little bit, and then my oldest has an orthodontist appointment today. And then after her orthodontist appointment, I got to run to the grocery store and pick up some specific things for my husband. So it's like, I'm hoping that I get this posted before 6 o'clock this evening, but we shall see. So I'm going to kick off today, starting with March's projects, the little bit that I've worked on them. I have not fully added up the times yet because today's only Wednesday and I've only had a couple of days to start working on things. So I will tell you about how much I got to work on them the couple of days, and then next week when I film, I'll give you this week's time like I usually do. So I will start with March's projects, then I will go on to show you where I ended for my February projects, and then I will move on to the couple of temperature projects that I did get to work on the last week or so. So with that said, let's go ahead and kick it off. I do not have any stitchy mail. I haven't purchased anything. I'm not waiting on anything, so nothing was bought or purchased. So starting with project 1 for the month of March. Project 1 is my favorite designer project, and each month I switch it off, and my hopes is that the favorite designer projects will be finished in time for me to enter them into both my county fair and my state fair, which the county fair happens in, I believe it's June for the county fair, and then August for the state fair. I believe those are the time frames, which right now, the projects that I have to enter into the fair for this year, for 2026, is the black work that I finished for last year. So right now, that's it for my fair entries. And black work is its own category. Sampler is its own category. And then they do categories based on the fabric sizes. So I try to stagger my favorite designer projects with different fabric sizes so that if I get more than one finished in a year, I can have more than one entries. But that's neither here nor there. So project number 1 for the month of March is Lavender and Lace, and it is called Lady of the Thread. This is what it looked like. And if you were with me back in 2024, I recharted this. Well, I started recharting it in 2024, and I was taking this on an airplane, and I was trying to make it like low. I didn't want to take anything with me because I didn't want to lose anything or have it confiscated from me. So like the fabric is just big enough for the piece, and I started it by stitching in hand. I did not take scissors with me. I only took like a needle and my floss drop and, you know, my piece. So I got about halfway done with recharting it before it was time for our flight, and loaded it into Pattern Keeper and started stitching it. And then later I finished, well, actually, I went to finish recharting it, and then I did not save my floss cross file, so it got lost in the ethernets somewhere. And so I had to start all over and rechart it all over again. And when I did rechart it, I recharted the dress in different colors. So I did a color conversion, and this is my own color conversion, but from what I can see here, it looks like it's working. So yeah, so this is my own color conversion. Okay, so I told you last week that I sort of had a plan going on when I would be working on this. And so that is what I started doing. I finished out what was needed on the butterfly. I started these white flowers, and I've gotten all the way into the blue flowers. So this one, because it is in Pattern Keeper, I do have some stats. I just need to find it in my notebook. Okay, so I did get to work on this March 1st, which was a Sunday. So this goes in with last week's, for the week of, what was it, February 23rd through March 1st. So I did get to work on this 2 hours, 23 minutes, and 11 seconds on Sunday. And that brought my total time for this project to 52 hours, 15 minutes, and 19 seconds. And when I got to work on this on Sunday, I got to put in 522 stitches, which was pretty amazing. And it's brought my stitch count up to 6,884 stitches out of 17,306. And as of Sunday, I was at 39.78%. So I'd say Sunday, I probably finished out the butterfly and got a good chunk of these white flowers. And then Monday and last night, I finished up the flowers, and last night I definitely got to work in the blues down here. So I will continue bringing this down till it hits the area of her dress. Then I will jump over here and finish bringing this down until it hits the area of her dress, and then I will jump back into the middle and finish the piece with her dress. So like I said, I will have just enough space on this piece of fabric. There will be a 1/2 inch at the top and hopefully a 1/2 inch at the bottom. I did not plan on framing this piece, and when I originally started it, I did not plan on entering this one into the fair, even though this is a favorite designer piece. However, I could turn it into something and still enter it into the fair. So I still could enter this when it's done, but when I first started this, I was not originally intending for this to be a fair piece. Okay, so that's project one. Like I said, I got to work on this Monday and Tuesday, and both of those days I got to put in over 2 hours. So this one has seen a lot of love. Okay. Here. Trying to keep all my stuff together, or else I will lose it before I need it again. Excuse me, I still have that cough. All right, project 2 for the month of March is the Dutch Beauty Sampler. Project 2 is either a black work piece or a sampler piece, and like I said, it's specifically to enter into my fair. Both fairs have a category for samplers, and both fairs have a category for black work. But the Dutch Beauty Sampler, when I left off in January, I was a little paranoid that I had miscounted. Well, lo and behold, I have not miscounted. I finished out this top border and got to the edge and started bringing it down. Now that I can physically see that there is the 1.5 inch border, just like I thought, I jumped back to page, I think it's F, and started working on this motif and finished it out, and then jumped over to this piece. So, yes, I have enough room. Yay, I'm happy. Boy, is this fabric cut so crookedly, and it's definitely more apparent over here, because over here the border is 1.5 inches at the top, but over here it's more like 2 to 2.5 inches. So it's definitely a crooked piece of fabric. However, once it's framed, it will be straight. So, oh, again, I forgot to give you fabric counts. For the Lady of the Thread, that is 14 count Aida, and that's like the Charles Craft Aida. It's a gray color, and the color is numbers. I don't remember what it is, but it's the Charles Craft gray Aida. This is 14 count Aida that I hand dyed myself, and I did a come dye with me video for it. Okay. So that's over here. All right. So this week, I did not get to work on it on March 1st. I've only worked on it Monday and Tuesday. And each day I put almost an hour and a half in. It's like an hour 20, hour 25 minutes each day, something like that. So again, next week I will have the total counts for everything. Okay. And then project number 3, I was really excited to switch over to it. It is my Chatelaine. I am working on the Misty Morning Vineyard by Chatelaine. And this picture does not quite match what I'm stitching. I don't know if at one point you got to choose what to put in it, or if because this was like a mystery stitch along, or I'm not sure. I just know that this picture right here does not match what I've stitched, and that's okay. Alright, so I got a lot done since the last time you saw it. Last time you saw it, I had some of the stitching up here done. Well, I finished out the stitching. I started doing the border over here. Because these colors also came down here, when I finished it up here, I jumped over here and stitched it out. Same thing whenever I was doing this color. After I finished it, I came down here to mirror it. So yeah, here's where I'm at. And this one, I got to work on it Monday and Tuesday, and I've put in about an hour and a half on it each time that I worked on it. So again, next week you will get the total time counts for it. And then project number 4 is my Stashbuster piece. That is a bunch of kits, some books, but mostly kits that I've had for ages. This is the one that I'm working on. This is a Plaid Bucilla kit, and this is called 4 Seasons. And here's my progress. So the last time you saw it, I only had a little bit of the stuff up in here. So I've pretty much finished doing the thick parts of the lettering. It says spring, S-P-R-I-N, and then the G. And there are thin parts of the lettering, and it's a serif font, so there's the little feet here, but the stitches are done for the lettering, and then I've started filling in this top border. So this section is almost done with the stitching, and then there's a border that goes around here and here. So once I finish that, then I'll jump into the summer section, because the summer is next. It's coming along. This is the kit fabric that came with it. It's 28 count, and it was ivory even weave that I hand dyed myself. I did not do a come dye with me video for this one. Yeah, and for this one, I got to work on it Monday and Tuesday of this week, but not for very long. It's been about between 30 and 40 minutes each time that I've gotten to work on it. All right. So that is my new March projects that I have switched to. So, excuse me, I'm so sorry. This cough just lingers with my asthma, and I hate it. Okay, so backtracking to February. These are the projects that I worked on for February, and here is where I ended them at. So project 1, the favorite designer project, is the Mirabilia's August Peridot Fairy. And she's upside down. My needle fell. Okay, so here is where I ended for the month. So I'm just working on her dress. Okay. She's not quite 3/4 of the way done, but I feel like I'm getting close. Okay, and then that one. I ended the month with 77 hours, 9 minutes, and 16 seconds. And then project 2. Is the sampler project, and it's Loose Thread Stitchery's Orchid Blackwork pattern. And here's where I finished off. I finished this section over here, and I had jumped over to finish out this section over here. And when I do, the top half will be finished. And so the back stitching is done in those areas as well. And this one. I ended the month with 24 hours, 20 minutes, and 54 seconds. And then project 3 is the Nene Thomas Waterfalls of Jade. I'm rolling it the wrong way. Okay, so here's where I ended for the month. I was just working on stitching in the parked threads. These are down in row 3, so they didn't get touched, but I'm working on row 2 and working on the parked threads and stitching them out and down. So row 1 is finished all the way across. It's going to be really pretty when it's done. It's going to take forever because I am a slow stitcher and this is not gridded. If it were gridded, I think I would be stitching it a lot faster. So this one I ended with 55 hours, 54 minutes, and 48 seconds. And that last week, February 23rd through March 1st, I got to put in 724 stitches into it. And it brought my total stitch count to 7,091 out of 244,860. And I'm at 2.90%. So I'm almost at 3%. That's exciting. And then project 4 was the Dimensions Indian Peacock. And here is where I ended for the month. So I was just working in the stitches in his head and working it down. Okay, and then that one, I finished out the month with 42 hours, 13 minutes, and 0 seconds. Okay, and then I got to work on some temperature projects. And I will go over the temperature projects again because it's been a while since I got to work on them before. So, temperature projects are every day I look at the app on my phone and take a screenshot of it because I will forget and see what the projected high is supposed to be for the day. And so I have 9 projects and I've labeled them 0 through 9. And every day that I check the temperature, I look at the second digit of that number. So I am going to be doing all of my temperatures in Fahrenheit because that's what I use and what I'm most comfortable with. So for any of you that are not from the US, it's been an actually warm winter this year. It's not officially spring yet. And if you listen to Punxsutawney Phil, the groundhog, we are supposed to have 6 more weeks of winter, and we haven't actually had a winter yet in Colorado. We've had a few snows, a couple of snow days, like the kids had 5 allotted snow days, and they've used 3 of those 5 days. And it's been a very, very mild and warm winter here that in December, some of the trees were starting to bud as if it were spring in like a false winter, and then we got a little bit of snow in December, so like the false spring stopped. But I mean, it's March. February is usually the month that we get most of our snow, and we haven't had any since I think there was a day in January. Anyway, so I'm using Fahrenheit, and I'm looking at the second digit of the projected high, and that's going to tell me what project to work on for that day. And I have been taking 30 minutes and just working on that project. Now, I did get to start this back at the end of February. So there's 2 days in February that I got to do it, and 2 days this month. So my temperature projects, starting from 0 going to 9. The temperature project slated for temperatures ending in 0 is the Doctor Who diamond painting that I have. The temperatures ending in 1 is the Pansey blanket crochet that I have. The temperatures ending in 2 is that purple Japanese landscape cross stitch that I have. The projects ending in 3, it used to be wire wrap, but if I'm only sitting down and working on my projects for 30 minutes, that's not going to get me very far into a wire wrap project. So I have changed out the wire wrapping, and I've switched it to another crochet project that I have that needs to be finished. I have an Irish crochet blanket that I need to work on. So that is going to be my number 3 project. Temperatures ending in a 4 are the French beaded flowers, and I'm still working on the thistles. I don't quite have enough flowers for an arrangement yet. The temperatures ending in a 5 are the monk's cloth, Swedish weaving, Huck weaving projects, whatever you want to call it. It's called all 3, and you can find books and patterns for them calling it all 3 projects. So that's monk's cloth, Swedish weaving, or Huck weaving. Projects ending, or temperatures ending in a 6 are going to be a butterfly cross stitch that I had going on. Projects ending in 7 were the hooded crochet scarves, but I kind of fizzled out on making those, and I didn't like how they were really turning out. So I have changed that to a baby blanket. It is something that I had originally bought to make for my youngest daughter, and she's now 9. So maybe I'll give it to her and she can use it for her baby dolls, or maybe I'll just tuck it away and give it to her when she's old enough. Anyway, it is a purple crocheted baby blanket, and it's a fillet crochet. I had all the stuff, I just never worked on it. So the project temperatures ending in 8 is a peacock cross stitch that I have that's not the Indian peacock. And temperatures ending in a 9 are the granny square crocheted blanket that I had started ages ago. So those are my 9 temperature projects. So for February 26th, it was 60 degrees here, which is very warm for February. So that is my my Doctor Who diamond art. And I am still just in this section here, but I'm almost done with this section. I know you can see the difference, but here's this. I am leaving this laid out on a tray so that it's flat. And there's a couple of diamonds in here that I have to go back through and put back because they've come off. But like I said, I'm going to leave it flat until it's finished. And then I'm probably just going to pop it into a frame. Yeah. So this is what I worked on February 26th. And then February 27th, it was 65 degrees, which is the monk's cloth Swedish weaving. Where's that? Okay. I am using this book right here. This one is specifically calling it monk's cloth. And these are diamond Afghans. The one that I'm working on is this one right here called Precious Gem. And okay, it's been a while since I've shown it to you. Oh, I folded it weirdly. Okay. Let me scoot my chair back. All right. Okay. So, before I had shown you, I had finished this half. Excuse me. And then I had come over here and finished out most of this. I'm in the last legs. Now, when I worked on this on the 27th, I finished weaving in 3 strings. So I'm almost done with this bottom section. And then when I am done, because it is like perfectly symmetrical in all ways, what I then do is flip this over so that the design is then on the top and that the blank space is on the bottom, and then I just do all the things that I did up here down on this blank piece. So this is getting closer and closer to a finish, and that does make me happy. Okay, and then on March 2nd, it was 67 degrees. And that is the purple baby blanket. So this is the pattern. It is the Bashful Teddy blanket from Mary Maxon, number 38994N. There were 2 color options, this mint or lavender. I had made the mint blanket for my cousin. His wife was pregnant at the same time that I was pregnant with my youngest. So I had done the baby blanket for them and sent it to them, and then never did the baby blanket for mine. But it is a fillet crochet. It is a teddy bear. And hang on, Merlin got a hold of things. And I have to make sure that I'm doing the fillet crochet part right. But I have the base chain started. And this row that I've started here is the start of the fillet crochet, but I have to go through and make sure that I'm doing the right amount of stitches before I finish it, get to the end, count it, and go, oh no, I didn't have enough. Let me rip out that row and do it again. So that's where I'm at. And this was a half an hour's worth of work. And then the last day, oh, where'd my paper go? Okay, the last day was 51 degrees. Where did it go? Oh, here it is. It's stuck to my bag because of static electricity. I'm like looking for the paper, but I'm okay. I promise. Okay, so the last one was the Pansey crochet blanket, which is this one right here. This is my pattern, so I can't show you closer. This pattern, for some reason, was gridded out just like a cross stitch pattern. And I think the pattern was originally for Tunisian crochet. However, I was going through a corner to corner kick, and because it's gridded out just like a crochet project, I can make this a corner to corner piece. All corner to corner pieces, you could convert a crochet, no, you can convert a cross stitch pattern into a corner to corner crochet. You just have to be very careful and watch where you're going. So when I started working on this yesterday, it was about halfway through this row with the pink flower. So it started out with a little bit of pink, went into the green, went into the black, and then down into the purple corner. And this one is so difficult to show, but I had started like, I think this pink right here, stitched out into the green, stitched out into the black, and stitched out and into the purple border. Once this is finally finished, I will be able to show it so much easier. But corner to corner is very difficult to show. But that's it. That was a lot of projects, and I got it in under 40 minutes. So that's great. I'm not going to have to pause and then come back and then finish. So that's it. That's all of my projects. I have a little bit more time, or I've reshuffled my schedule, how I was scheduling things, and I found a little bit better way that I can do things to work on my projects. And if I make an effort to sit down for 30 minutes doing I don't know, some people will call it the daily 30, and then some people, I'm doing temperature projects so that I finish all these other things, but I'm doing it like a daily 30 where it's just the 30 minutes a day. And yeah, so hopefully I can continue this trend and continue to get in work on these temperature projects because I really would like to finish them at some point in my life. Especially some of them that I've been carrying around for ages, ages and ages and ages. Like the Doctor Who painting I've had since right before COVID shut everything down. The Pansey blanket crochet I started when we were in Arizona. I can't remember if I started it after my youngest was born or if I started it before my youngest was born. It's the same thing with the Irish crochet. I started working on that when we still lived in Japan. I worked at the Arts and Crafts Center in Japan, and I worked in the framing department, which is where I got a lot of my pieces in the house framed. Like the lighthouse one is one that I framed while we were in Japan, and that one is one that I framed while we were in Japan. And then, not that you can see the living room, but two of the things hanging in there were framed while we lived in Japan. So I also once a week did a crochet class. And so each month was a different project that we worked on. And some of them I only worked on, like I would give them homework to work on. I'd be like, okay, so I want you to work on rows 3 through 8. And then, so like they would come in with their finished pieces, and then I would have the example shown for the next part, and then they would work on that next part. And then, so like, I would just, do that. And I never actually finished any of the blankets that I started as I was teaching that crochet class. And so the Irish crochet is one of those things that I want to finish. And that was started before my oldest was born, and my oldest is 12. The French beaded flowers is something that I did ages ago, and I actually did make at least 3 bouquets of flowers. And then while we lived in Arizona, the javelinas destroyed them. You heard that right. The javelinas destroyed my beaded flowers. I had them sitting out by the door at the front door, and there was like a little stand thing, and I had my original thistle, my original marigold, and my original miniature bearded iris in their little pots sitting there. And then for for Halloween and Thanksgiving, we had some gourds set out, and the javelinas came and ate the gourds and knocked over my flower pots of my French beaded flowers and scattered them and destroyed them, and half like beads were everywhere. It was a mess. It was a mess. It was like a herd. I don't know if javelinas are in a herd, but it was like 6 to 8 of them in the front yard, and it was crazy. It was crazy. So, anyway, I need to remake my flowers and make more. The monk's cloth, yeah, I've been working on that off and on for ages, ages. So yeah, a lot of my temperature projects are things that I want to finish working on. So that's it. That's my weekly update. I will continue working on my March projects. And like I said, I feel like since I restructured my day, I have more time to work on things. And that's it. I will see everyone next week. However, next week might be my last update for a few weeks because next week is the last week of school before spring break, and the kids are out for 2 weeks. and I don't get a lot of stitching and things worked on when the kids are home. It's mainly my youngest. My youngest still wants to be, when she's bored, she wants to be entertained. And so during spring break, during fall break, during summer vacation, she's, Mommy, let's do this. Mommy, let's go do this. Mommy, let's go spend money. Mommy, let's go do this. Let's go spend some more money. And she just, we are constantly telling her, kiddo, you need to entertain yourself. You need to play with your Barbies yourself. You need to do this yourself. You need to be able to function and entertain yourself. She doesn't like that answer so much. When my mom comes to visit, my mom can attest to how much this child does not leave her alone. Like, I don't want to say that my kid is high energy because she's really not, but she's just, hi, hello, I'm right here. Don't ignore me. Pay attention to me, and it's all day long. And that is my youngest's personality. She needs to be the center of attention, like, at all times. So spring break is coming up. I don't think I'm going to get to work on my stuff very much, but that is that. And look at that. It is 9:43. I have like 2 minutes before I have to go to my appointment, or to leave to go to my appointment. So I will see everyone next week. And like I said, next week might be my last update until closer to the end of the month, just because of the kids. But we will see what I can do. But let's plan on me not updating for a couple of weeks. So I will see everyone next week, and then maybe a break. So bye for now.